All right, so we're having a good time. I've been promising you guys Damn Glad for quite some time. We finally have a couple of them in here. Matt, as I said, Matt Kurzban. Am I pronouncing that right, Matt?
He's right.
Kurzban. Kurzban, I didn't want to say Kurzban.
everybody.
Yeah, that'll do it. And when they do acoustic shows, they have a cello player who's here with us, whose name is Eli. Eli, what's your last name?
Gay. Eli Gay.
Eli Gay, like G-A-Y?
That one.
There it is. That's easy enough to remember.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so as you all know, we played Damn Glad on the show a lot, and one of the things we've been playing lately was the remake that they did of Aerosmith's Make It. So, Matt, tell me a little bit about how all that came together in the first place.
I think it was last September. We were approached by a small indie label, Versailles Records.
Who I've totally heard of.
Yeah.
So they may be a small indie label,
I think
but
they're down
man,
in
they're like,
Nashville.
come in a little closer.
I think they're down in Nashville.
Is that where
And
they are?
They make their living putting out tribute albums.
Right.
And so, whether it's an Ozzy tribute album or a Van Halen tribute album, we got approached and asked to do a tribute album for Aerosmith and for Motley Crue, which are both coming out in October.
Is that when they're coming out?
Yes,
Okay.
so I've been told. But we got a little sidelined because, it was a good thing because the tracks weren't due as soon as I thought they were. Our drummer got sick. He needed 3 months to recover. We were locked out of the studio. We couldn't track anything. And then so we kind of forgot about it. And he got better. April, May, June, we started playing. And we figured, the label didn't do it or whatever. And they scratched the whole thing. And then they got back in touch with me and said, where's the tracks? We're ready to go. And we got in the studio within the last month and tracked both songs, I'd say within, a 2-3 week period.
Yeah, because it kind of came as a surprise because I know when we first met, you had told me that, and you had told me you were doing Make It, which I thought was, off the hook. You could have been doing like Crazy or Crying or something like that.
I gave it a lot of thought. I was like, what song do I want to... these are my childhood heroes now. What song am I going to really choose? And it's not easy doing Steven Tyler, so...
No, it's not.
I don't have that kind of range.
But on that first album, as you know, he was still trying to find his voice. So his voice is very deep. I know people that know a fair amount about music that think that's a different lead singer on that album.
I love the tone of his voice on that first record.
It's great. It's great.
It was less throaty, but it was more old bluesman style.
Yeah. And when they do songs like One Way Street or Moving Out, he still sings it like that.
I used to cover One Way Street years ago.
Did you really?
Band, but that's
Did you play harmonica?
No, my lead singer at the time in a different band did.
Oh, you weren't the lead singer
in
that
wasn't.
band?
I was the rock guitar god.
So who else is on the Aerosmith tribute album? Do you know? Anybody we would know? Yeah.
They promote it as all of these musicians from fractions of bands from the LA 80s days, whether it's members from Tesla, Poison. I'll show you, if you see the artwork that we put it on YouTube. The record's not out yet, but we released our versions, which I gave to you as well. And
I'm whoring it on Facebook.
I took the artwork from both album covers that the guy designed, and it said I can get that information for you, but it was basically guys from all these hair metal bands, and some of them are ex-members of some of these bands, supposedly.
Right.
So I don't know the real logistics of which band, but there's a lot of indie unsigned bands like ourselves that are on it as well.
How did you guys get approached? How did you get on that?
Got an email one day. Got an email from a guy that said, hey, I really dig your sounds. We're doing a Motley Crue tribute record. We're doing first he wanted us to do the Aerosmith, and so we wrapped our ears around it and figured out what do we want to do, and we chose Make It right away because I was like, that's the song that back in the day when they dropped the needle for the first time.
Right.
If you didn't hear Dream On the radio, you dropped the needle for the first time, and that's how you first discovered Aerosmith.
True.
And I always thought that was a great song. I think years ago when I lived in LA, I saw a couple of bands open with that as a cover.
Really?
I always thought that was a great band. A great song to cover.
Do you know the last time Aerosmith actually did that live was in Boston in 2003?
I have a CD actually of a live performance, I think, of that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they rarely do it. And I got to be honest with you. I've been going to see Aerosmith since '76, and I don't think I've ever seen Aerosmith do it.
I don't know why they don't put it in the set.
Because obviously it's an opener.
Yeah.
You don't put that in the middle of the set.
Exactly.
Good evening, people. Welcome to the show. You don't put that halfway through.
Yeah,
Exactly. So I don't think the first time I saw them, they opened with Mama Kin, and I don't think I've ever seen them do Make It. And I think I've seen them do pretty much everything off that album at some point in time, except for Make It. I've heard them do Somebody.
Yeah.
I've heard them do Write Me.
Yeah.
You know, obviously moving out, Mama Kin, they still play,
Yeah.
you know, every show,
Yep.
you know. So how did this guy hear about you guys?
Good question. I never really asked. him,
Yeah.
but who
You
knows?
just got an email like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to do this Aerosmith
he probably
album?
did a Google search for rock bands.
Yeah.
Probably put in some keywords. I think I always tag Aerosmith, Foo Fighters type of things when I'm tagging videos.
Okay.
So he probably found us on YouTube or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do both albums come out in
October,
in October?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he says, the gentleman who runs the label says that it's going to be in stores. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, where is the store?
Right, exactly.
I mean, we're in New York
I can't
City,
even
so there's
find-
stores,
I
but
can't even find my favorite artists in Best Buy. So
yeah,
I mean, it's all Amazon and.
it's pretty sad, you know. I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
Krista, you live out in the burbs, right?
No, I live in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, all
And we
right.
have record stores there.
See, all right,
Yeah,
yeah.
several.
That's what makes Brooklyn what it is.
Yeah.
Well, like on Record Store Day on April 20th, I talked about it on the show. I was like, okay, here in New York you can find them, but I'm like, but the rest of the country, where the fuck do you find a record store?
I know. It's
You
Target,
know,
it's Best Buy.
That's
or-
it. And you know, their selection is so limited, you can't get any back catalog stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta,
You gotta
unfortunately,
go to Amazon.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything's all, I was talking on the show last week about, the first time I had seen Aerosmith, and Rocks had been out for a mere 7 days.
Wow, those are the days.
Those are the days. But I said on the show, I said, it's not like today where you could download it and get a feel for the song, the album 7 days before it came out. It's like, you had to get in a car and go to a record store and find it. And I was a little kid. I have a driver's license.
Find a bootleg release.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like, it was a whole different
What
ballgame
was that
back
place
then.
in Jersey? Rock and Roll Heaven? Remember that place?
Yes.
That was the place she went to find a new release before it was on the street.
Where were they in Jersey?
I don't remember, but I remember I must have been 13 years old, just going with friends that were older. My brother and
Wow.
his friends, and we were like, oh my God, we're going to get the new.
You ever
whatever
been
it
to
was.
Vintage Vinyl?
No. But it sounds
Vintage
familiar.
Vinyl is in Edison, New Jersey, and they've been around forever because they're a specialty store. All new releases, all rock stuff. They were somehow, and if I'm wrong about this, don't beat me up via Facebook, but they were somehow indirectly involved in signing Metallica.
You're talking about the guys from
Vintage Vinyl.
Megaforce.
Yeah, I think
Johnny
that,
Z.
yeah, Johnny Z. I think somehow they knew the people from Vintage Vinyl, or they were somehow connected with them, and something along those lines. But again, I could be wrong about that. But I think is Johnny Z from New Jersey? Do you happen to know? Yeah.
think so.
So that must have been the tie-in. Somehow they heard Metallica, and
What a way to sign a band.
Yeah.
Than just a guy running a record store.
yeah,
I heard a demo through the off-market people that were just putting out those kind of records.
yeah, and they've survived
And they
all
were-
the trends.
yeah, it's
They're still there. I follow them on Facebook. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you gotta follow them on Facebook. So. All right, we're gonna do another song from you guys from your latest album.
Okay.
One of my favorites. Well, I just played "Not for Nothing," which I like, but as I was telling you before we started, this is one of my favorite songs of your band. It's called "One Good Reason." Check this out. Well, I know my listeners have heard it before, but you're gonna hear it again. All right, once again, you're listening to Rock Hard with Jay Conroy on Rock Hard Radio 1. Special guests, Damn Glad in the studio. Here we go.
You know who I am when at first we meet. I can tell by the look in your eye. Been a long time coming and it will be sweet. Now find a woman with some depth inside. We stand half a chance, honey, if we communicate. Tell me everything that's on your mind. I wanna know where you've been and where you think you're at, even though you have yet to arrive. If you could give me one good reason to sell me, one reason to buy. There's always one good reason, there's more than what's been meeting the eye. I say God only knows if it's meant to be. Until then, I guess we'll give it some time. 'Cause there's something in the water and the air we breathe that's making everybody lose their mind. I won't tell you 'cause you'll know without me saying a word. I'm pretty good at picking up on the vibes. Surf is up, stock to the decision to go after what you vision, but you know there's always some kind of compromise. Cause I'm sure you must have noticed intensity and focus convincing the consumer to buy. If you give me one good reason to sell me, one reason to buy, I might be in the market. There's always one good reason, there's more than what's been meeting the eye. But is it what you really wanted? One good reason, you know, not to believe the hype. There's always doubt about it, so give me one good reason, convince me I'll agree to comply. One good reason, one good reason, one good reason, one good reason.
All right, you're listening to Rock Hard with Jay Conroy on Rock Hard Radio 1 from New York City. In the studio, as been promised for God knows how long, Damn Glad is
Damn
with
Glad.
us. Yeah. And that was one of my favorite songs from them, One Good Reason. And,
Well,
and
thank
we
you.
play you guys all the time.
And I
so,
can't thank you enough. It means a tremendous amount to us.
well, you're very welcome. I like the band. If I didn't like the band, I wouldn't be playing them.
Thank
You know, it's
Much
just
love,
that
much
simple.
love. Yep.
Well, you know, it's funny because when we met, I'm going to sidetrack here for a second. I had met your girlfriend Nikki
Yes.
previously, and I had really only met Nikki like one or two times. And I was walking down the street, and you and Nikki were walking up the street.
Yep.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, how you doing? Jay's a big Aerosmith fan." And you said, "Oh, I just went to see him in Albany."
Yeah.
This was last year,
Yeah,
right?
last June, yep.
And you said, "Oh, me and my brother just went to see him in Albany." I was like, "Really?" You know? And that's when you told me about. You said, "Oh yeah, you know, I got a band," and I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, really."
Great,
you know?
another guy with a band.
Well, yeah, and you were so nonchalant about it,
Yeah.
and I've told my listeners about this on the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you were very nonchalant about, yeah, you know, blah blah blah. So you gave me your card,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked it up, and I started listening. I was like, "Holy fuck, these guys are really fucking good." And then I saw Nikki again,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, "Nikki," I said, "these guys are fucking incredible." You know, I said, and his voice is like fucking killer, you know? So, I mean, I was highly impressed and, you know, put you on the show right away, man. So,
Well, that's what makes me want to write more songs when I hear stuff like that. So
the
can't
songs are
thank you enough.
great.
Thank
You know, you guys got a sound, you got a feel, you know, which is what I really like. And you guys are playing right here in New York City next Wednesday,
Yes.
right?
We do a little bit of kind of a couple. We do electric shows, we do acoustic shows, but the show we're playing next week, it's Wednesday, July 17th, 10 p.m. at Otto's Shrunken Head down on 14th Street on the east side. And it's a great little tiki bar.
It is. I've been there.
Yeah, and Eli's going to join us on cello, and we do a nice little acoustic set. You know, my theory has always been kind of the Billy Joel, Elton John theory. If a great song can stand up in its skeleton form with an acoustic guitar or a piano, and, you know, not having the disguise of all the loud instruments, then you know you've written a great song. And so these songs translate really well acoustically. So I actually find more thrill lately in doing the acoustic shows than the
Interesting.
electric ones, because the lyrics have a chance to breathe, the story gets a chance to be told, and it's not fighting over the loud decibels of banging drums and loud rocking guitars. So I get more fulfillment, you know, especially as a
Really?
singer. As a singer, I get to really find my groove, and hearing all the percussive instruments, you know, that surround us. It's kind of the icing on the cake for me.
Interesting. And, you know, I totally agree with that point that if a song can stand up acoustically, it's a good song.
Absolutely.
You know, back to Aerosmith again. I remember when they did Unplugged, and I remember thinking, you know, I don't know if
Here
they're
we
gonna.
go.
Here we go. This
Yeah.
could be, you know, and they laid it out, and I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if these can hold up like that, then there you go. All right, so Matt's got his guitar, Eli's got his cello. You guys gonna play something?
Yeah, we'll do a tune. We want to do a video. Probably our next video will be for this song. It's called Force Quit. And I wrote this song originally with the kind of a comical sense of Control Alt Delete. Everybody's in the computer world, and I applied the theme to, you know, scenarios and situations that happen in life where you wish you can just Control Alt Delete it away.
Right.
And that's what this song's about. It's
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah.
This is from your latest
This is
album.
from our latest album. It's Always Something, which is available now on iTunes as well as CD Baby and on our website, damnglad.com. But this one's called Force Quit. It'll probably be our next video.
All right, here we go. Nice.
A little something sweet.
Hell yeah. And Eli, man, nice cello playing.
Yeah, he's got the goods.
Damn.
I imagine it's the first cello appearance on your show.
It is the first cello appearance on the show, so you will be in the Rock Hard with Jay Conroy record
Cello!
books. And you know what? It's funny, like you were saying. It's I've never heard you acoustically. I've only heard your stuff, you know,
blaring out the speakers.
speakers.
Yeah.
So it really does take on a whole life and really sounds.
It opens up more venues that we can play as well, instead of just the typical rock clubs.
And why is that?
I think sometimes it's very limiting around here. I mean, we're not a touring band at the moment. We'd love to be a touring band. Any great bands out there need an opening act. We're certainly open to hopping on as an opening act.
You hear that, everybody?
So, we find ourselves just trying to reinvent ourselves a little bit and not just getting pigeonholed into the loud rock thing. And, I love doing cafe gigs, love doing, more intimate venues where an instrument like the cello could really, step out and give a song a different direction and a different feel.
Right, because when you came in here with Eli and I saw a cello, I was like,
Is this
wow.
the right band?
Yeah, it was like, okay, I don't know what that guy, maybe he's coming from a gig or something,
Yeah.
but, all right, so that's from your latest album. When did this album come out? It's Always Something.
January 2013.
Really? Oh, that's because I had the songs beforehand.
Yes,
That's
you
what
had
it
the
was.
sneak peek.
Yeah, I had the sneak peek. And I was chomping at the bit to play it, but you were like, you can't play these because they're not mastered yet. And so I had to wait for you guys to get them mastered. And, so I was already, all
Ready to
over the album, listening to it, constantly.
That's
before,
awesome. We can't thank you enough.
It's my pleasure. And I mean, we have listeners all over the world, and our listeners are extremely loyal, which is good. And as you saw before, it's like, I don't fine-tune this show to where, everything has to be all perfect. I like the show to just flow.
Yeah, let it be loose, let it hang out.
Yeah, I mean, the music's a different thing. I mean, that, I'm more of a perfectionist on, but as far as, like, the talking and shit like that, if I make a fucking mistake, I leave it in.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just more natural, and the listeners are used to that. They also know if you don't like the word fuck, you're listening to the wrong show. You don't like to hear me talk about sex, you're listening to the wrong show. But the show fucking rocks, and that's really all that matters.
Damn straight.
All right, what do you want to do? You want to you want to play another song? You want to do another Damn Glad song? You tell me.
I've got a special treat for you.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Listen up, Arrowheads.
You can't see me, but I'm wearing my Aerosmith shirt.
Yes, he is. He came in fucking uniform.
I
He
am
knows.
representing Jay Conroy, the show that he has, representing Aerosmith, the best rock station online, who showcases Aerosmith and like bands. I could not show up here without an Aerosmith shirt on.
I'm glad you did. Even I'm not wearing one today,
know,
but I've got
I
my, I always got my Aerosmith ring and
There
my
you go. That's a
Aerosmith
cool ring,
necklaces
too.
on. You know what I mean? So,
Well, I figure I'd give you a little treat.
all right, let's do it.
I don't think I need to intro the song. Those who know will know.
My listeners will know.
Yeah. Blues-hearted lady, sleeping was she. Love for the devil brought her to me. Seas of 1,000 drawn to her sin. with her, holding me in. Ooh, woe is me, I feel so badly for you. Ooh, woe is me, I feel so sadly for you. In time, bound to lose your mind, living on borrowed time. Take the wind right out of your sails. Fireflies dance in the heat of hound dogs, they bay at the moon. My ship leaves in the midnight. Can't say I'll be back too soon. They waken far, far away. Heat of my candle, show me the way. Seas of 1,000 drawn to her sins. Seasons of wither holding me in. Ooh, woe is me, I feel so badly for you. Ooh, woe is me, I feel so sadly for you. In time, about to lose your mind, living on borrowed time. Take the wind right out of your sails. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Thank
You ever
very
play
much.
that live, man?
Never. It's the first time I ever played it right now.
Really?
Yes.
Because I know when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, you're like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna come do Seasons of Wither on your show." I was like, "Damn, man!" I was like,
I figured it was a little gift for you.
"Well, thank you."
Absolutely.
And you nailed it, man. That guitar, that's
Well,
one of my
thank you.
favorite slow Aerosmith
too.
songs. Oh my god, because that's
too.
not a ballad. That's a
No,
slow song.
exactly.
You know,
That's an arena rock song with the lighter in the air.
and I've seen them do it. They do Seasons
Once
on
in
a
a while.
semi-regular basis. You know, they haven't really been doing it this tour, but you know, and nowadays when they do it, Steven and Joe come out and sit down,
Yeah.
you know, and start it off. And well, Steven can't stay seated for the whole thing.
Yep.
You know, he eventually has to get up and
Yeah.
you know do whatever.
I think I
but-
saw them do that song. I don't remember which show.
How many times have you seen Aerosmith?
Probably about 5. Not
Really?
as many as you.
No, I'll be 109 now
That's unbelievable.
and 110 hopefully tomorrow night.
That's
You know, if
awesome.
all goes well.
Do those guys ever stay in touch with you online at all?
Not really. You know,
Hey,
when
Jay, how many
Steven,
shows now?
you know, it's funny you ask that because, you know, they clearly, I mean, obviously they know thousands and thousands
Sure.
of people. So there's people that think I know them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? If I run into Steven on the street, yeah, he'll be like, oh, you could see in his face, hey, man, what's up, blah, 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 you
Right,
know.
right.
But as far as, like, I don't have his fucking phone number. You know what I mean? Look, I don't have time.
Yeah.
Between my kids and work and the show and everything else, it's like, and, you know, multiply his life by,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and the whole band's life for that matter,
Absolutely.
you know. But it's funny. I don't know if I told you this story, but right after Hurricane Sandy, I was stuck out of town, and Aerosmith was playing David Letterman, which is like next to impossible to get into, and then the next day they're doing the Today Show, and so I finally got back into town, and they're doing Letterman, and I couldn't get in. But I was like the kid in the Foreigner song, got his ear to the wall.
Yeah.
And I'm outside the stage door, I'm listening to him playing shit, And they did something from the new album, Love Her a Lot, and they did Train Kept a Rollin', which the Train Kept a Rollin' was for Letterman does like, he'll have the bands do multiple songs, and then that goes on the internet. Mm-hmm. So, I heard, I was like, God. So after the show, the crowd's building outside, and one by one they come out. And Steven comes out and he gets like fucking mobbed, like mobbed. But he loves it. And he's very, very cool like that. Like Steven Tyler, out of all the rock stars, he lives for that shit. He's always happy to sign, take pictures. Hey man, he's always real friendly. So I'm like, I'm not going to get near him. But I know where his hotel is. So I hate to sound like a stalker, but it's only like 9 blocks away from where Letterman does his show, and literally across from the street from where we're actually recording this now. So I said, you know what? I know where he's going. I'm going to go down to the hotel and just say hi, So I'm booking down the street, and this was right after Hurricane Sandy, and as you know, that there was a big crane that had toppled over and had that whole section of the city closed off. So I'm booking up Broadway, and all of a sudden even pedestrians can't go. So I bang a left, and I go down to 8th Avenue, and there's Steven's fucking limo driving, and he's going nowhere because traffic, as you know, because you live right down there, traffic was so bad, he couldn't move,
How'd you know it was his limo?
Process of elimination. And it was just funny because it was like, it was rush hour. And when I saw him get in, I was like, Steven, I'm thinking to myself, you could walk faster than you're going to get back in this shit,
right?
And, I walked up to the car, and he was like, hey, man, it's like, I called my chick. I put him on the phone with my chick. So imagine you're like driving home from work, and it's like, hang on, Steven Tyler's on the phone. And I hand the phone. So when they see me, I mean, obviously they're like, hey man, what's up, and cool. But it's not like, hey man, come hang. You know. So, but I got on them in '75, and it's just, I mean, look, you're a rock guy. You like Aerosmith. What are the fucking chances of the same 5 guys being together for this amount of time?
Very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare.
And they're referred to as America's greatest rock and roll band, which I firmly agree with.
Absolutely.
And arguably, the key word here is arguably, the best band in the world, based on the fact that it's the same 5 guys.
Exactly.
The Stones can't claim that.
Yep.
The Who can't claim that. I mean, the Stones is, touring now, but, it's Jagger and Richards and Watts, and that's it from the original band.
And Van Halen comes close, but...
Van Halen comes close.
Yeah.
I'm a big Van Halen fan.
Me
Love
too.
Van Halen.
Me too.
So, that was kick-ass. All right, speaking of Aerosmith and speaking of you guys doing Make It, I'm going to play your version of Make It. And we played this on the last couple of shows that we did. But again, this is Damn Glad doing Make It, and they fucking smoke this shit.
Make it, baby, don't break it.
Yeah, check it out.
Could
There it is. Damn glad doing Make It. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks. You guys fucking smoke that song, man. You really do.
Well, thank you very much.
I love it. Now, we were talking while the song was playing, and you said that you had it down to 2 or 3 Aerosmith songs. What were the other songs, and why did you decide to choose? Well, we talked about that.
If I can remember, I'm not sure if I remember, but I think it was probably something like Round and Round off of Toys in the Attic.
Really? That's a tough song to do.
I think there was something off of Rocks. I was probably thinking about Nobody's Fault and Rats in the Cellar.
It's interesting you bring up Round and Round and Nobody's Fault because, and you know Aerosmith's catalog pretty well, probably the two heaviest songs in terms of being close to heavy metal.
Yeah. And it's probably, and it's Brad Whitford. Those are his riffs.
Oh, yeah. He co-wrote Round and Round, and and those, I've only seen him do Round and Round once. And that was when they came around and they were doing Toys front to back. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking to myself that this could be tough because it's very studioed up. You know, there's a lot of, you know.
You can hear the drugs on that song.
Oh, you can totally hear it. But they break into it, and I'm like, okay, the band's on it, and they get into, and I'm like, all right, now it's up to Steven.
Yeah.
You know, can he do it? And he just nailed it. If you believe in me. I was like, oh my God.
It's amazing that he can still hit those notes.
Yeah, yeah.
I was blown away when I saw them last June. I mean, I know they're doing different things every night, but when they pulled out SOS, Too Bad, my brother and I looked at each other and we were like, no way.
You know, that summer tour last year, before the album came out, was one of the best tours I've ever seen of them.
Yeah,
I kid you not.
I was shocked.
You know, you were in Albany. I wasn't at the Albany show.
And that was the first time I saw them in years. So my brother and I took my dad as well because he never saw them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was blown away.
Yeah, because they had nothing to prove on that tour. The album wasn't out yet, so they were coming out and doing like shit that they haven't done in a long time.
Yep.
And I had seen them at Nassau Coliseum, and they came out doing Draw the Line, as I believe they did in Albany. And I'm looking at them going, this is probably already in one of the top 10 times I've ever seen them.
Yeah.
You know? Then we go see them in Philadelphia a couple of weeks later, and they throw in like Chip Away the Stone, and they did Rattlesnake Shake, and Come Together. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that was very cool as well. So, who were some? First of all, I got to ask you about your voice. Did you have any professional vocal training, or is that just completely?
Years. I took lessons for about a year and a half. I mean, I consider myself more of a character singer, like a John Lennon or a Tom Petty, than I do as a technically trained singer, a la Steven and you know anyone else that I've idolized over the years. You know, I work with what I got.
Right.
But yeah, I took lessons for a couple of years, and really developed my own sound through my writing. You know, for years I was in bands where I had other lead singers sing the lyrics that I wrote, and I got tired of lead singers splitting on me, so I decided to, you know, be my own singer and my own artist and my own writer, and really be a self-contained artist by learning how to sing and learning how to perform, you know, coordination and all, trying to sing and play. So you tend to write songs that are conducive for your ability to sing and play at the same time, coordination-wise. And so, you know, you just develop your own style over the course of time.
Which makes a lot of sense. So before that, you strictly played guitar?
Yes, I was a songwriter, guitar, feeding my lead singer all the stuff to sing.
And then they'd bail on you.
Well, you know, I mean, they certainly collaborated as well. It wasn't me dictating everything, but for the most part, you know, I was the one doing the majority of the writing in most bands that I've ever been in.
You were telling me before we started, and I'm going to bring this up because my listeners will find this interesting. You were in a band. What was the band we were talking about?
I was in a band that I started in late '88 called Dashboard Mary. We were pretty big on the local New York City
Which
scene.
as soon as you said it, I'm like, I remember that band.
I actually still talk to some of the guys. Some of them are in L.A., some of them are up in Seattle, some are down south. But we were around for a good 3-4 years during the heyday. I lived in L.A. I watched Guns N' Roses go from a club band, and I was 15 years old, sneak in to see them, you know, with a fake ID to get in.
Did you really?
My friend used to roadie for Slash.
Really?
So I was like a very impressionable 15-year-old witnessing this band that I knew was going to take over the world. And I just had a very close-up, you know, view of watching these guys, you know, catapult into stardom. And, you know, so I came back to New York after the wave in L.A. kind of crested, and New York scene was happening here. And the band that I started, we made a buzz right away. You know, my lead singer at the time had a hell of a lot of charisma, so, you know, he was that David Lee Roth a la Steven Tyler kind of frontman showman. and it really captivated people in the audience. So it didn't take long for us to, have a packed crowd wherever we played in New York. And we recorded by Aerosmith's old management years ago. We worked with
This
them.
is the interesting part, folks.
Yeah, we worked with
Lieber Krebs.
a great lady that worked at Lieber and Krebs, Debbie Prisco. I don't know where she's at these days. But after Lieber and Krebs kind of got us showcasing in front of labels, I remember we played the Bitter End one night, and who was in the audience that she brought down was Jay Messina, who engineered a couple of
for years.
for years. So we got to meet him, and
Wow.
I was 16 years old maybe, and 17, and it was just, I couldn't believe that,
So were Lieber and Krebs chomping at the bit to rip you guys off the way they ripped off Aerosmith?
I don't know if it ever got that far. I mean, we met them once. It wasn't really, it was like she left it in Debbie Prisco's hands, and she used their bank account basically for us.
Because I'm sure you know the history. Aerosmith claims
yeah.
they ripped them off, and
absolutely, absolutely. And then from there, Springsteen's old manager, the guy that screwed him over, Mike Appel, he managed us for a while, and then we went on to Cheap Trick's management. But we recorded by all the labels.
It's probably almost better off those guys didn't pick you up because they might have ripped you off.
Yeah,
ripped off Springsteen, ripped off Aerosmith.
No guarantees. We could have wound up in the $2.99 bin for all we know, but it was a hell of a ride. And we recorded by Giant Records and Epic Records back in the day, and we did a development deal with Giant. Pete Robinson was our A&R guy. He wound up signing Dave Matthews. And, it's always one guy in the band. We worked together so hard over the course of 3-4 years to get the band where it was. And, the lead singer was auditioning behind our back as the record guy was deciding on whether to pick up the option to sign us. He was auditioning out in L.A. for a band at the time called The Scream, who just lost their singer to Motley Crue, which was John Corabi.
Okay,
So he went and joined The Scream, spent a year doing a record with them, and, unfortunately, I guess a couple months before the record came out, Hollywood Records cleared house, and they got dropped, and the record never came out. But Dashboard Mary, we were pretty prominent on the scene, and, I'm surprised you even, have heard of the name.
As soon as you said it. Well, I'm born, bred in New Jersey, and, been living in New York for, past however long I've been here, and it was always up on the rock scene. There's a local paper here, the Aquarian.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
I would get the Aquarian
We used to be all over that.
Yeah, every Wednesday, man.
Yeah.
When it came out, I would go pick it up and see who's playing. That's why, so many bands I had heard of and could see who was really playing. It doesn't mean I saw all of them or heard all of them. But, all right, so to segue about John Corabi, is that how you say his
Corabi.
name? Yeah, he got a fucking raw deal. I
I
mean,
know.
that's like hard
He
shoes
almost
to
committed
fill.
suicide from that.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, as a lead singer, I mean, it's a tough slot to stand, to come into, and he was so opposite of Vince, that it was a tough thing.
I actually love that album. That one album they did with him.
It's a cool album.
I still, a lot of Crew fans will disagree because
right, it's so different.
yeah,
Hooligans
it's so
Holiday,
different, but it was just such a different sound compared to everybody that was like, oh, Motley Crue. A lot of people thought that Motley Crue didn't deserve the metal credibility that they own, but to some degree I thought Corabi made them sound a little more current, a la Alice in Chains kind of style, and it was just a heavy sound having two guitars in the band.
And their latest is great, Alice in Chains.
Yes.
Have you heard it?
Yes.
Oh my God. That's a band that, to me, it's amazing how they can incorporate acoustic and electric and just have that sound all their own.
Well, Jerry Cantrell, he's got his own signature sound.
Yeah,
with
he
the way
really
he layers
does.
his vocals.
Yeah, this new album, I mean, we play it all the time on the station. I couldn't wait for it to come out. So it's definitely good. I remember him saying before it came out that it was going to be down and dirty. And that's pretty much exactly what it is, which I like. So, all right, so speaking of Motley Crue, how did that come about? I know Versailles Records did the Aerosmith thing. They also did the Motley thing. But how did you guys decide, we're going to do Motley? Did they ask you again? Tell me the story behind that.
He did say, the gentleman that runs the label did say, we're also doing a Motley Crue tribute. Why don't you dive into that and see what you can come up with?
Were you hesitant at all about it?
I was hesitant, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, no disrespect, I've always liked, I would say, a quarter of what Motley Crue did. I was never like this die-hard, Crue fan. I did see them in '86 or '87 when Guns N' Roses was opening for them down in Miami, and they definitely are worth their weight. They put on a hell of a show.
They are. I've seen Motley a bunch, and
but I wasn't
fan.
like a die-hard Crue fan like I am, an Aerosmith fan or some other bands. But Wild Side was always a song that I loved. I thought it was a great video the way because that was the tour that I saw them on when they were just full on in their Decadence tour, Girls, Girls, Girls. And so, my band and I, we thought, what song could we do if we're going to do this?
Yeah.
I don't have Vince Neil's range as much as I don't have Steven Tyler's range. What song am I going to, chew on here that's going to do it justice? And Wild Side just kept coming up for me, even though I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know if I can hit these notes anymore. But, it's definitely had the balls that we were looking for. And Damn Glad has, we have our own sound as well as a power trio.
Yeah, that you do.
And it's like that Aerosmith kind of, that one guitar thing that almost sounds like two. And, Mick Mars did a great job on that song guitar work-wise, and I figured...
He's a hell of a player.
Yeah,
Mick
he
Mars.
is. And it was just like, to me, that was always a badass riff that I thought, we should try to, wrap our minds around it and do. And I think we did a decent job.
I think you did too, and I didn't even know you were doing that until you sent it to me the other day. You sent me the finally finished copy of Make It that I was like dying to hear for the longest, for a year.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you telling me.
And then you were like, "Yeah, here's this Motley song," and I was like, "I didn't know you were doing this." So you guys do really well on this too.
Thank you.
Check it out for yourselves, everybody. Here we go, Wild Side.
Take a ride.
Kneel down, you sinners, to streetwise religion. Queens be crowned the new king.
There it is, Wild Side, man. You guys fucking kicked ass on that song.
Metal horns up, man.
Nice. Now, did I ask you already what made you decide to do Wild Side?
Wild Side's always been one of my favorite Crew tunes. I just think it's a badass riff. I like the time signature changes, and it's a tough song, and I figured my drummer can handle this. Tommy Lee, baby. And he did a hell of a job. I was a little concerned about my vocal abilities to hit those, Vince Neil vocal, range, but I think I rocked it.
I think you did too, and I don't, you had said that to me, and I listened to it. You had said it to me after I heard it.
I've actually been compared. I've had people say, "Oh my God!" Like there's a tune off of our second album called "Live Now" or "Forever Hold Your Peace," and I've had people say, "Oh my God, this sounds like a Crew song." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I kind of do have that."
Yeah,
Vince
you
Neil
do,
kinda
because you had
sound.
told me that after I listened to the song, and I was thinking, really? You thought, you weren't going to be able to hit it or nail it, but no,
I don't even know if he can hit it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I did
It
the
depends
best I
on the
could.
night.
Yeah,
It depends on the night
exactly.
with Vince. I mean, I love Motley,
Yeah.
but sometimes Vince, if he's off, he's off.
But I
so.
saw the playlist. I don't remember offhand, but I saw some of the bands that were going to be doing some of the songs off the tribute album, and Wild Side. I was like, please don't let it be that someone chose Wild Side. I want Wild Side, and I saw that, they were doing more of the obvious tunes, and I was like, damn glad we got to grab Wild Side.
Yeah, Wild Side is definitely up there in my favorite of Crew songs. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too. It was in the height of their decadence.
Yeah, yeah. You ever read Nicky's book, Heroin Diaries?
Did I read Heroin Diaries? No, I didn't read Heroin Diaries. I read The Dirt, which was great.
The Dirt is great.
Yeah, it is a great book.
They
I
were
think
even
they're making a movie.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they seemed. I mean, Aerosmith was a fucked up band, but I think Aerosmith was so fucked up that they were just passed out half the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Motley, I mean,
That was a great book too. Did you ever read Walk This Way?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it was a great book.
But the shit that Motley was up to, you're like, they almost make Aerosmith look tame.
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, Aerosmith was so strung out they couldn't do shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas Motley was doing all this coke and shit, and the shit that they were up to was like. There's one chapter in the book where I thought it was a riot. They were on tour with Guns N' Roses, and they're all bored one night. So they take the furniture from the hotel room, they put it in the elevator with a table, and on the table they put a big pile of blow, and they're all snorting. I think it was Nicky, Tommy, and I think Steven Adler and maybe Duff. I don't know exactly who it was, but a couple guys from Motley, a couple guys from Guns N' Roses. And they're just going up and down the elevator, and the elevator would open, and imagine you're like at this hotel, and the elevator opens, and then there's a bunch of fucking rock guys in there just doing blow, and they don't even give a shit.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Those were the days. They were like bored. So
I saw Guns open for Motley Crue the last night of the tour on the Girls tour down in Miami, and Guns was playing, and Motley Crue's road crew were on the top of the rafters dropping bags of flour on them.
I heard about that.
And
you were at that
it's
show?
actually in the book, but I was at that show.
All right, that's where I heard it then.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I was at that show. And Slash, by the end of the show, Slash was just, he looked like a white Medusa. He just had flour dripping down his hair, and everybody was pissed.
Damn.
They
that's
were pissed,
pretty
but
funny.
it was pretty cool aspect of the show. It looked like they were having fun doing it, but the crew was totally, every night they just goof on each other.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so once again, we are here in the studio with Matt and Eli from Damn Glad. Damn Glad playing here in New York City next Wednesday, what's the date on that?
July 17th, 10 o'clock, Otto's Shrunken Head will be doing an acoustic set. Eli will be sitting in with us. And we are playing August 6th out in Brooklyn at the Spike Hill Club, which is a great rock club. We'll be doing our live electric rock set.
Now that I got to make. When is that? August 16th?
That'll be August 6th. It's a
August 6th.
Tuesday night at 9 o'clock.
All right, because we have we have listeners all over the world.
Well, if you're in New York
obviously.
City, you want to see a great rock band, we'll be playing August 6th, plugged in, live in your face.
Yeah, come down, check it out, because we got plenty of New York listeners, and definitely Otto's Shrunken Head you want to check out. All right, these guys are going to do another song for us acoustically. You can hear how good that they are, and this is what you can
Hey,
expect.
I do what I can.
All right, what are you guys going to do?
This is off our new album. It's kind of one of them power ballads. It's called Beautiful Lies. It's kind of a play on words because people think, oh, beautiful eyes, but it's beautiful lies.
Funny. All right, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. arrival of someone special in my life. Finally, there's a chance for me to cross my T's and dot my I's. 7 all the flavor, it'll eventually run dry. It's very strange behavior, I'm catching wind of turning tides. Need I say why? When I look into your beautiful eyes, there seems the ultimate place to hide. Until I look into your beautiful eyes, so cleverly disguised. Beautiful eyes. You told me there was more than one occasion when you had to try to love me and not think about the prospect of another guy. Baby, the telephone is ringing, there's someone at your door. I finally got to thinking, I'm not so sure about the circumstances of that investment of time. Another reason to cry when I look into your beautiful eyes. There seems the ultimate place to hide until I look into your beautiful eyes. So cleverly disguised, and then I look into your beautiful eyes. There seems the ultimate place to hide until I look into your beautiful eyes. Your beautiful eyes. Your beautiful eyes. Beautiful eyes. When I look into your beautiful eyes, there seems the ultimate place to hide until I look into your beautiful eyes. So cleverly disguised, and then I look into your beautiful eyes. There seems the ultimate place to hide until I look into your beautiful eyes. Beautiful eyes. Oh, oh, oh.
That was beautiful.
Thank you very
That
much.
really was.
Thank you very much.
This Eli is really
This
fucking
Eli
good,
is
huh?
He's a good. He's good.
He's a good, this
you,
kid.
You are good.
Gotta love that, man. You got such fucking tone, man. I love it.
Thank you.
You sound really fucking good.
Yeah, rock jelly.
And he's a youngster too. How
Yes.
can I ask you how old you are, Eli?
25.
25.
25.
Shit. I remember 25 fucking years ago.
If I knew then what I know now.
I know, right? I know.
I would have
Damn.
enjoyed it more. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it enough, though.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
And I think we're still enjoying now.
That's
'cause
right.
Now we know.
And
It's
we're
like,
like a fine wine now.
right. Yeah, better with age.
That's right.
But you know, and that's the thing with rock and roll, man. It's like rock and roll rock and roll, I believe, has grown old gracefully.
I agree.
You know, the Stones are still around. People are still going to see them. Aerosmith, like we were talking about, all these bands.
Yep.
You know, and I don't care if these guys are in their 60s. If they can get up and put out,
That's right.
that's all I give a shit about.
I agree.
You know, you see these pictures, you know, these tabloid shots that, you know, they're always getting of, like, you know, rock bands, older guys, and trying to make them look really bad. Look how bad they look. Look how...
Yeah.
I don't really care.
I know.
If they get on stage and they can pull it off...
I think there's a certain integrity and honesty to aging gracefully. I don't think getting facelifts and doing things to fight the gravity is really... I just think it's cool to be human and be, you know, be flawed. That's what we're all here to
Well, that's
be.
your opinion. I got a Botox appointment next week, all right? No, I'm just
But
kidding.
I do wish that this country wasn't so hung up on, you know, as far as for new emerging bands, established artists, you can be however old you are, you're established. But for bands trying to come up that are over 40, I think I'm going to start a label, Over 40 Records, and just sign you know, bands and artists that are over 40, because, you know, there's no reason why that demographic should be, you know, phased out just because, you know, we're not in our 20s appealing to a younger audience.
I agree.
Still churning out great music, still, you know, still following the passion and the dream and being an artist. And being an artist is what it's all about.
And, you know, that being said, if I go see a band over 40 or that kind of thing, there's a lot of experience in that band.
Absolutely.
You know, you've been in
Absolutely.
multiple bands. The guys in these bands have been in multiple bands. You know, and I'm not saying that a young band is going to suck, but certainly I would go see an over 40 band any day of the week just for that reason.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, you've been playing so long, all these different influences, all these different bands that, you know, musicians have played with, and then you guys get together.
Plus, more so than not, typically you get better with age.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'll never forget when I saw Aerosmith. I think the first time I saw them, I was 16 years old, and Guns N' Roses opened for them as well. But when Aerosmith came out, it separated the men from the boys. They opened with Rats in the Cellar, and they slowed it down to a tempo that was like, wow.
Yeah, they
Going
do that during
under
Rats.
in the cellar.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow. I was so ready for the the record version. But, you know, it's just an example of what I mean by, you know, you seem to have more of a groove going as you get older. You lock into a tempo of life that just, you know, hopefully it's a smooth, easy type of feeling, as opposed to you're young, you're dumb, you run through money, and you just play things too fast and too hard. And there's something about settling into a groove later on in life, I think.
I agree. And you know what? It's all about a feel to me, because you can be the greatest musician in the world, but you need that feel.
Yep.
You know, I'm not going to name names here, but, you know, there's guitar virtuosos where it's, you know, and they're great, they're phenomenal. But for me, it's about the song. Where's the song?
Exactly.
And where's the feel? You know what I mean? You don't need to be a virtuoso.
Right.
You don't need to be this, you know, accomplished. You don't need to be like Eli. You know what I mean? Like really good in all sorts of school. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's and Eli's got great feel, but it's
Yeah.
about, you know, to me it's about feel. You know,
Absolutely.
it's all about that. So
Absolutely.
I want to thank you guys for coming in, especially
thank you.
Eli,
Yeah.
man.
I mean-
Eli, I'm sure he got dragged here going, come
Yeah.
on, Eli, you got to go in and do this fucking radio thing, man. And he don't know what he's in for.
Well,
All
the
of a
other,
sudden he-
the other boys who aren't here, Jeff Baker on drums and Gio Giovanni on bass, they say hello as well.
All right, cool. We
But,
play you guys. You're in our general rotation. We play you on the show very frequently on
thank you
Rock
for
Hard
that.
with Jay Conroy.
Can't thank
Look,
you
it's
enough.
my pleasure. I like the band, as I said earlier. You know, when we met and, you know, I'd met your girlfriend and she turned me on to your band, I was blown away again because you were so nonchalant about, yeah, you know, I got a band. And then you were like, we got like 3 albums. We're working on our 3rd album, I
Yeah,
think. You
I'm
were.
a little humble to a fault.
You were very humble.
Yeah, it's-
And that's what blew me away when I ran into your girlfriend next time. I said, Nikki, I said, he's fucking phenomenal. I was like, he acted like, you know, I got a band, like it was no big deal. But, you know, I was pleasantly surprised.
I laugh
So-
sometimes because my girlfriend tries to, make connections for me, and she'll meet a producer, and I think the worst thing you can say today is, my boyfriend's in a band.
Yeah, she should probably
So
leave the boyfriend part out.
We laugh though. It's like, you gotta laugh.
She should say my brother.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Because, yeah, you're right. Right away people think, oh, yeah, your
great.
boyfriend.
Right, your boyfriend's in a band. Right. Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
But
well,
for those of you out there, stop in and say hi. Say hello to us. Damnglad.com. You can find us there, and we're always trying to put up new content every month.
and of course on Facebook. You
Absolutely.
can follow them on Facebook. You guys got a lot of your music on Facebook.
Yes.
And you can you get your where exactly can people get your music? I know we talked about this earlier.
You can
but tell
find
them
all
again.
3 of our records on iTunes. We're in the iTunes store, cdbaby.com, damn glad. But you can get all of our records in any of those stores just by going to our main site, damnglad.com, and you can navigate your way through there.
All right, we're going to take you out with a song that you actually have a video for.
Yeah, we did a little
correct?
self-produced video. I mean, it's a performance type of video, but it's called Crawl Back. It's off of our new album, It's Always Something. And it's on YouTube. You can find it, Damn Glad, Crawl Back. And rock it all the way home, baby.
All right, thanks for coming in. We'd like to have you guys back. Maybe
Thank
we'll
you.
get
We'd
you
love to.
guys back before the gig in August.
That would be great.
And I want to thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Once again, everybody, damn glad.
Peace out.
You're listening to Rock Hard with Jay Conroy. Here we go. We're going to take you out with Crawl Back.
Why would I want to hurt myself? It's easy to point the finger at someone else. I took your picture off my shelf. I did what I could with the hand that I've been dealt. Get tired.